Now, before I can proceed with this video, I need to tell you all about a man, and he's the man who began this journey. His name is Travis Berwick. Travis Berwick. This man is one in a million, okay? Some of you watching this have met him, some of you have not. The vast majority of you have not. Well, it depends who watches this video. But any case, some of you will know him, some of you will not. Now, Travis Berwick is one in a million because he's one of those guys. I don't know if you've ever met someone like this. He's one of those guys that is unintentionally funny. And when I say this guy is unintentionally funny, he is unintentionally hilarious. This man is legit a comedian, and he isn't even trying. And I'm not saying he's being funny without trying. I'm saying he's genuinely not even trying to be funny, and he is funny. He is the most genuine guy. Everything that he says is 100% sincere. You'd have to meet this guy, right? But he's hilarious. Went to secondary school with this geezer, and one of his many quirks was his love of a game called Euro Truck Simulator 2. Now, at the time, everyone else was playing, like Call of Duty, Battlefield, Minecraft, all the cool games. Not Travis. Travis would come home and he would go on Euro Truck Simulator and he'd play it for hours and hours. And we used to take the absolute piss out of him. All in good humour, but we did take the piss out of him. And amongst his piss taking, I genuinely was asking myself, what is the appeal of playing it, especially at that age? We were like 12, 13, 14. I don't know if he still plays it. I haven't talked to him in a long time. But I genuinely was like, what are you doing? Like, I always thought that, driving trucks would be boring as a job anyway. It's never appealed to me. So to go home after school and play a game where that's all you do, it boggled my mind. Alas, I have since realised that Travis was actually just way ahead of his time, because I've been looking for new games to play, right? I'm kind of falling out of love with games a little bit. I'm trying to sort of wean off of them and, do more productive things instead of like reading or, making things. I think I'll always play video games, but I think maybe my tastes are just changing. I thought, well, maybe I should give it a go. And so I installed the game. It's not Euro Truck Simulator, it's American Truck Simulator. I've driven through Europe more than a few times now. And I've seen the sites. I've never been to America though, so I thought, why not install the American one? So I got the game. It's honestly the most zen shit ever. It's so fucking zen. And so to Travis, I have to say, I apologise sincerely for ever having doubted this game. This man was truly ahead of his time, truly. So this video is in honour of Travis Berwick. I hope you are doing well, my man. I doubt you'll ever see this video, but if you do, never change, bro. And I know you won't, but don't change. The world needs more people like you, Travis. Just keep being you, bro. I'm not gonna lie, I've got a fucking banging video idea, and I'm gonna take you through it. Ignore my username, by the way. Yes, then I've got something quite special lined up, so stick around for that. So first we've got to pick up the cargo. Currently we have not got any cargo, but we're going to accept this, set as GPS destination. I've prepared for this video, right? I've got this hat. I don't know if you can see. Pretty cool, right? I thought that, if I'm going to, be doing the whole trucker thing, I might as well be wearing the gear. Oh, shit. This is my truck. There we go. Got to stop the engine, refill. Yeah, this shit's mad expensive, I'm not even gonna lie. $200, $300, $400. Okay, right. We're good to go. Just gotta follow the GPS. Still on 43k though, so I'm looking nice. Okay. Let me Just... Alright, we're good. This game is essentially, you know, like, if you've ever played GTA, you've probably done a thing where you challenge yourself and you decide that you're going to drive like an actual human being for a second instead of like a psychopath, which is how GTA players drive 99% of the time. You get bored of it after 5 minutes, of course. That's basically that as a game. Oh fuck, I'm gonna crash. That's basically this as a game is driving, following all the rules of the road, just chilling. It's just chill, you know. I fuck with it. I fuck with it heavy. I'm not gonna lie. It says I've got 4 hours and 45 minutes to my next destination, but that's not true. I'm in the wrong lane. That's an exaggeration. That'll tick by quickly. You'll see. Now, here's what the video is all about. So, you guys may or may not have heard of a website called mumsnet.com, or is it .co.uk? I'm not sure. It's basically Reddit for parents. Essentially, it's a forum. I'm going to park up for this explanation. It's basically a forum, and you know, parents go there, mainly mums, judging by the name of the website. I used to like going on this when I was a bit younger, just out of curiosity, and I used to enjoy reading all the posts. Some of them are very funny, some of them are very outrageous, and I thought that what I could do is that this game has an in-game radio. So as you'll see here, got music player. It's got all of these files which I've downloaded, and what they are, I copy and pasted some of the funniest posts I could find from Mumsnet into a text-to-speech, and I imported those audio files into the in-game radio. What I'm going to do, and you know, there's this thing on Mumsnet called Am I Being Unreasonable? AIBU. In fact, they like their abbreviations on Mumsnet. They've got DD, DI. I haven't figured out what DD means yet, but it's most of the time it's self-evident. Anyway, if you hear AIBU or ABU or IBU, that's them asking, am I being unreasonable? And what people do is that they come to a judgment, they vote on it. It's kind of like Reddit. It's exactly like Reddit. AITA, am I the arsehole, which is a very popular subreddit. Downloaded the audio files. I haven't really listened to them. I've skimmed, as I said, the most popular ones. I'm going to listen to them now with you, and I'm going to pass judgment. I've got some beers. As I said, I've got my hat. I've got a vape. I haven't bought a vape in God knows how long. This one's grim, by the way. Blue Raz Lemonade. I wanted blueberry ice, but whatever. So we've got the beer, the vape, the hat, and the open road. And together, we are going to work through. Consider this like I don't know what you call it, like the auntie column in old newspapers, where they'd call into auntie, they'd send a letter, and she'd give advice. I am like that, except I'm the American trucker equivalent. Okay, that's how I want you to enjoy this experience. I hope you will enjoy it. I think it's going to be quite funny. You will notice that I've let me bring up the. So I've got, I think, 11 in total. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And then I've got 5 minutes of silence. The reason I've got that is because you can't actually pause the radio unless you bring up this menu. I've put some hotlines so that I can just flick back and forth between the audio files, but there's no pause button. And I don't want to keep bringing up this menu, so I've downloaded 5 minutes of silence from YouTube, which should be enough to discuss. And I'm going to have to switch back between the one I listened to and that. Anyway, that doesn't matter. You won't even notice that. I'm just being pedantic now. Anyway, let's hit the road. 4 hours and 37 minutes until we reach our destination. As I say, it will not be that long. But let's get moving. Let's get skedaddling. Indicates to the right. All good. Chill, bro. All right. Okay. We're gonna have a lot of stops along the way, a lot of beer stops. Just chilling. Just admire the truck in all its glory. I want to get a paint job for this bad boy, but I haven't got enough money yet. The one that I want costs 25k, and I've got to repay my my loan before I do that. But it's tempting because I've got enough. But this game is serious, right? You've got to stop at the red lights. You don't have to indicate, but I like to indicate. You've got to respect the speed limit, which I have trouble with, I must admit. You've got to I've turned it off, but normally you've got to get rest every once in a while. You've got to watch out the fuel, you've got to watch out the damage, and you've got to get the cargo there in one piece. So it's a whole ass thing. I take my role as a I take my role as a truck driver very seriously. I'm going to turn off the GPS now for maximum immersion. There we go. Now we've only got the ones on the dash cam. Without further ado, let us play the first recording that we've got. And these are all real posts. These are real people. And as I said, I've converted them into text-to-speech. Would have been nice to get some voice actors, but alas, here we are. Alright, here we go. Here's the first one.
It's the school holidays, and I appreciate that by starting this thread I'm going to sound like a right grump, but here goes. Our garden backs onto 2 houses, both of which are owned by couples with young kids. All 4 parents work from home full-time. The kids regularly play outside in the gardens. The houses are new build with literally no plants or shrubs. Just lawn surrounded by fenced brick walls. The noise just bounces around as there is nothing to absorb it. I accept that they are noisy when they play because they are young, energetic and kids. Now that the school summer holidays are well underway, it's become apparent that getting up and out into the garden at 8 AM is their routine. And they shout. A lot. Then at 10 AM they go inside and there is silence for a while. I can deal with it. I have 2 kids and I appreciate that's what kids are like. And here's the but. My son works full-time and his room overlooks our back garden. He works 12-hour shifts a lot of days, in hospitality. Most shifts mean he is home around 11 PM and in bed by midnight. He's getting increasingly fed up with the neighbor kids' morning routine. During term time, the outside playing is just at the weekend. But now it's a daily occurrence due to the holidays. I really feel for my son, because being woken up 90 minutes before he needs to be up for his next shift is pretty miserable. Why be to message or pop round to my neighbors and see if they can encourage their kids to be quiet or to not let them out before 9 o'clock.
Okay. One word. Earplugs. Earplugs would solve all of your problems in this matter. As she said herself, she's got young kids. She understands that kids are going to be kids, right? They're going to run around, they're going to play, they're going to do what kids do. It's not fair for one working man to ruin the fun of 4 families, man. It doesn't work like that. I feel for that. It's not fun being woken up early in the morning. At the same time, earplugs. That's literally all you need. If they were running around and screaming at 6 o'clock in the morning, that would be a different matter. But it is the son's schedule that is the outlier, not the schedule of the children. If they're coming around, if they're making noise at 8 in the morning, that is when most of the working world is up and around doing. They're normally up by then anyway, right? If not earlier. So it's really the son's problem, not the kid's problem. So it is not reasonable to ask for the kids to be quiet. It's definitely not reasonable to be like, can you guys be quiet? To impose a curfew on them bitches. And as she says, they go back to bed at 10 or they go back inside at 10 or whatever. But I think the crux of the matter is that 8 o'clock is really not a bad time. That's not an antisocial hour at all. Again, working in hospitality, late hours, get back at 12, fine. But if he's in bed by 12 and they're making a ruck at 8, that's a full 8 hours of sleep. That's a very reasonable amount of time to sleep. That's more sleep than most people get at his age, I feel. Being a young man. So, in conclusion, no, not reasonable at all. So, next caller, please. This one?
I'm not English. I have lived in England for a very long time. I do not support the England football team. I frequently support their opposition. Colleague has taken the England loss hard and said, I bet you're glad they lost. I replied that I was essentially a neutral, but thought Spain deserved the win. He's gone off in a big old rant about how if I live here, I should be supporting England teams, etc. I think he should have a wee lie down and chill out.
Oh, Lord. Well, okay, here's my 2 cents. This colleague is absolutely correct. If you're not going to support England, get the hell out of the country. I'm joking. You know, she's got a point. Spain did deserve the win. They did deserve the win. They deserved the win. They played the best. I'm not a football guy. The only time I ever get remotely invested in football is for the Euros. That's the only time. I was gutted that England lost. Yeah, to say that, you know, if you're in this country, you've got to support England. I tell you, if this geezer went to... If it was the other way around, and say this woman, you know, despite the fact she had an English accent, saying she's not English, say she's from Spain, if this geezer lived in Spain, he would... There's no way he would stop supporting England. Number one, because he's an English bloke and an English fan. Number two, because it's not reasonable to expect someone else to give up their allegiance just because they're in a different country. I will say that she contradicted herself by saying that she normally supports the other team but is essentially a neutral party. You can't be both. You can't support the other team and be a neutral party. So make up your mind, but also this bloke not being reasonable, I'm afraid. Not being reasonable. Come on. At the same time, way, England. Alright, next caller.
I had an appointment with a man I fancied a bit in a professional context.
Ooh.
He asked me how I was and I didn't just overshare. It was like projectile vomiting sharing. The worst bit is that after I left I realized I was subconscious trying to impress him, but really it was like I'd vomited on him with my life. I keep thinking about it and I want to die. I don't know him at all and the "how are you?" question was that very English thing of not a real question, which makes it worse. Please tell me something you've done that made you cringe to make me feel better.
I work with a woman.
Whoa,
I had
okay. Cut off early there for some reason. Well, first of all, I will say that, you know, he hardly knows him. It's not a big deal. But we've all been there, right? We've all been in that position where you do something awkward, you do something embarrassing, and then you replay it for months and months and months. I don't do it so much these days. In fact, I don't really do it at all, thankfully, but I used to do it loads back in the day. I'd have an embarrassing incident, and then it would haunt me for weeks on end, mainly when I was trying to get to sleep, annoyingly. That seemed to be the main time. I guess when the brain doesn't have anything else to do, it was just like, remember that embarrassing shit you did, bro? And I'd always, yeah. So I get it. Also, I'm really fucking hot with this hat. It's really hot today, man. I went on a trip to Bordeaux in France, and on the way home on the plane, I always remember this. Me and the guy next to me wanted to order some, I believe it was like some ice cream. And as the, it's just so bad. As the flight attendant came and was taking the orders, the guy I was with, he was called Josh. Nice guy, very awkward guy. And I swear to God, this man, he never had his homework for the class. And watching the teacher every time go around the class and him, as I say, not a bad kid, just, you know, unprepared, woefully unprepared. Seeing him have to mumble and awkwardly come up with an excuse and say, I haven't got my homework, I haven't got it today. Having to see him do that every week was so painful. I was like, bro, if you're gonna not do your shit, you've got to come to terms with the consequences, and you've got to get used to telling the teacher that you haven't done your shit. Anyway, this guy was very awkward, and when the guy came over and asked for the coins that it cost, for some reason this guy just looked at me with like a panicked look. And I failed to realise that was actually just his resting face, was this look of panic. But I took it to mean, in a moment, I just immediately assumed that he didn't have enough money. And so I was like, okay, you order it, I won't have any. You can take my money, you take one, I won't have one. And he didn't understand, because obviously he did have enough money, but he just gave me this panicked look, which I assumed was him not having enough money. And so he looked confused, and he looked at the flight attendant, and this is all in French, by the way. And, I speak French, but at that point, not as well. And it was about 30 seconds of us bumbling and me being like, No, I won't have an ice cream. I won't have an ice cream. And he was like, why don't you want an ice cream? And I was like, because you haven't got enough. And he was like, I do. And I was like, no. Anyway, I can't. It was years ago now, so I can't even remember. And I remember just looking up the flight attendant, and he looked at us, and he gave us this look of absolute disgust and confusion. He was sort of just like moved on. And then I looked over to my good friend Jonathan, who was sat in the other aisle, and he went, "That was an absolute shambles, boys." And I was just like, I know. And that haunted me for weeks. And I was angry at myself, but I was also angry at Josh. Why did he give me this look? Like, literally, when the guy came over and said, "That's €5, please," Josh looked at me literally like this. Like, what? How am I supposed to take? And he didn't say anything. I was like, how am I supposed to take this look? He's got all of the coins. I was just... Anyway, that was an awkward thing that played up on my mind for ages. I know I've got far more awkward stories to tell than that, but they're not coming to mind, and I probably wouldn't tell them anyway, because that's for me to know. In any case, I don't ever, unless something especially awkward happens, and even then, I'm much more graceful with myself these days. I find, I'm much more forgiving. I'm going to say this. This was originally supposed to sell the trucker look even further, but it's boiling. Oh shit. Even if I do something, even if I do something very embarrassing, I generally forget about it quite quickly. So I suggest that this person does the same. Be graceful with yourself. Don't be harsh on yourself. And remember that no matter how bad your fuck-ups are, you're the only one who remembers them. Because everyone else is too busy remembering their fuck-ups to remember yours. Think of how many embarrassing moments you remember of other people. I can remember a few, especially bad ones. I remember once when my classmate when I was like, 7, pissed himself. And everyone laughed at him, and I felt bad for that kid. But other than that, and a couple of other things, the only embarrassing moments, the ones that I care about, are the ones that I myself committed. I'm just gonna have a beer break. So don't stress it, man. Don't worry about it. It's no biggie. Shit happens. And yeah. Anyway, on to the next one.
I had an appointment with a man I fancied a bit in a
I work with a woman. She's not well liked, moody, and doesn't like many people, and has taken to WhatsApping me while at work to moan, complain, and whinge. When I am not at work, she will also message me with moans and complaints. But if I message her for whatever reason, gonna be late, not coming in, etc., she leaves me on read.
Ooh.
I work with her because no one else will. I can deal with her tantrums and can ignore a lot of her behavior when at work. Only when she needs to moan again, she will message saying, "Oh, I thought I'd replied," and then begin her complaining. I go to work, I don't get involved in drama, do my job and come home as I work to live, not live to work. I can see why others don't like her, and she seems to use me as her sounding board, and I feel like I'm beginning to be treated the same as her just by association. If we are at work, and she needs to moan, she will type her message, and then hold her phone up and waggle it indicating I have a message and I need to see it.
That's so annoying.
How do I make this stop? She's clearly using me, but I'm such a pushover, I don't know how to stop it without hurting her feelings, and I also feel that she's the type of person who will make my life miserable if I cut her off. MNers, do your finest. Help me deal with her as nicely as possible.
My family...
Okay. Let's think about this. Now, obviously, you don't want to do anything. I feel like there's a big logical fallacy where, if you need to set a boundary, people often think that you have to be a prick about it. But being polite and being assertive are not mutually exclusive. You can be both. Okay. So to this person, I would say, I myself have been a pushover many times in my life. It's something that I'm still trying to stop. I'm much better with it now. But I used to be a big pushover myself, and not in all aspects, but in some aspects. In scenarios like this, I probably would have been. But not replying to your texts and only using you as a source to vent, that is mad disrespectful. That is incredibly rude, and it's completely unprofessional. To be quite honest with you. So my advice, my advice would be to talk to her about it, and this is what I'd say. Let's say her name is Jessica. I don't know why I've gone to that name. Jessica. I'd as I say, you got to be polite, be nice about it, but be firm, because if you let people treat you like that, you're giving them permission and you're telling them how to treat you. So perhaps she's, unaware that this is what she's doing. But, if she's not replying to your texts, and as I say, that is the big problem. If she was venting and replying to the text, that wouldn't be nearly as bad, because there are people that don't realise that they're venting or they're dumping all of their shit. Some people do that without even realising, and they just need a little nudge. I would say, Jessica, I understand that you're having a stressful time. However, I'd be much more happy to help you with these problems if you would do me the courtesy of replying to my texts. That's what I would say. And if you couldn't do that and you wanted to text her instead, which would be awkward, I would text the same thing. Part of me was tempted to say don't reply. That wagging, that phone in the air thing, that is really fucking annoying. I can see someone doing that. That is infuriating. So you've got to stop that shit. Lay her down gently. Just tell her that it's not okay. And if you're worried about her making your life miserable, clearly she doesn't care about your opinion if she's not replying to your texts. So I doubt she's going to be too offended if you suddenly turn around and say, I'm not dealing with this. More likely than not, she's going to find someone else to dump her problems on. Whether that's someone else in the workplace or someone out of the workplace. In either case, it won't be a problem anymore. Once you set that boundary, any further infringements upon that boundary, you both know that that's her bad. Right now, if you don't draw a boundary, then there's nothing objectively wrong with what she's doing, because she doesn't realise that it's pissing you off, although she should, So that is my official advice. Sorry, it's very, very messy of me. Going back to the embarrassment thing, there's something I've noticed, right? People talk, the last few years I've been trying to, increase my confidence slowly but steadily. What I've realised is, as with all things in life, as with all journeys, it is not a straight line. It is more of a, you know what I mean? Progress is never a linear path, is what I'm trying to say. And I realise that this is the case with confidence. Some days I leave the house, as I did this morning, and I walk with all of the confidence and swagger of a man who's just received fellatio. And, other times, as I walked out this afternoon, the very same day, I walked out this afternoon to get this hat, to get the beer and the vape, and some food. And I felt very withdrawn. I felt but I felt much more insecure. And I wondered to myself, I was like, how can I go from one to the other in the space of, a mere few hours? And I realised that what I realise is that when I'm feeling insecure, I'm paying much more attention to my inner, my focus is inwards when I'm feeling insecure. When I'm feeling confident, my focus is very much outwards. I have struggled a lot with anxiety in the past. What I've noticed, and the same old thoughts that I had when I was a teenager and I was really struggling with that shit, is, everyone's thinking about what I'm doing. Everyone's paying attention to... Everyone's scrutinising everything I do when I'm walking through the street. Everyone's paying attention to me. What I realise is that anxiety is very vain in one sense. It's not to say that the person suffering is vain, but the anxiety is vain. Confidence is much more selfless. It's much more concerned with the outside world. So anxiety is the inner world. Confidence is focused on the outer world. That's just my twos. That's my take. Anyway, right, we'll get on the road and then we'll put the next one on.
My family and I have just got back from an amazing 2 weeks in Spain. Whilst there, we as a family, including the kids, decided to stop doing Christmas presents minus a small present from me and my husband, We've said we don't want any presents from family and instead we want money to be added to our family holiday fund so we can enjoy a big summer holiday every year. I know some people don't like to give money, but for us, it makes the most sense. I've spoken to most people and they've said it's a great idea. However, my mill has refused. She said she is not seeing her grandchildren go without presents and we are selfish to expect them to. I be you to be angry with her for not listening.
On holiday at the ML, and I...
Loan installments. Okay. Oh fuck! I just missed a turning because of the fucking loan. Fuck's sake. Okay. The guy's pronunciation was really weird there, and it cut off suddenly. So
I had an appointment with a man.
I work with a woman.
My family and I have just got back from an amazing 2 weeks in Spain. Whilst there we as a family, including the kids, decided to stop doing Christmas presents minus a small present from me and my husband. We've said we don't want any presents from family and instead we want money to be added to our family holiday.
I work with...
My family and I have just got back from an amazing 2 weeks in Spain. Whilst there we as a family, including the kids, decided to stop doing Christmas presents minus a small present from me and my husband. We've said we don't want any presents from family and instead we want money to be added to our family holiday fund so we can enjoy a big summer holiday every year. I know some people don't like to give money, but for us, it makes the most sense. I've spoken to most people and they've said it's a great idea. However, my mill has refused. She said she is not seeing her grandchildren go without presents and we are selfish to expect them to. I be you to be angry with her for not listening.
On holiday...
I had an appointment.
I'll listen to that one more time.
I work...
My family and I have just got back from an
Mill is
amazing 2 weeks
mother-in-law.
in Spain. Whilst there we as a
Whilst is
family,
whilst.
including the kids, decided to stop doing Christmas presents minus a small present from me and my husband. We've said we don't want any presents from family and instead we want money to be added to our family holiday fund so we can enjoy a big summer holiday every year. I know some people don't like to give money, but for us, it makes the most sense. I've spoken to most people and they've said it's a great idea. However, my mill has refused. She said she is not seeing her grandchildren go without presents and we are selfish to expect them to. I be you to be angry with her for not listening.
Okay. Alright, okay. Yes, you are selfish. Is my answer. I understand the logic of wanting to save up for a summer holiday, but to demand again, well, I say again, this is the first time I'm mentioning it. It's all about the way you're asking. If you're demanding that your mill, your mother-in-law, and the rest of your family pays towards your summer holiday instead of buying presents, you know, you can try and justify that by saying, you know, oh well, you know, I'm not depriving my kids of presents because the present is just the summer holiday. But you can do both. You can save for a summer holiday and you can buy presents for your kids. And I think to deprive your kids of presents, and remember that, you know, Christmas is, or is his birthday, you know, either one. It's a very exciting time for kids. You know, I can't remember any time. There are very few other times as a kid where you're as excited as Christmas Day or you know, your birthday, where you know you've gotten presents. To deprive your kids of that so that you can all go on holiday, that's incredibly selfish. That's incredibly selfish. And furthermore, to take offence that your mother-in-law doesn't want to participate in that and wants to treat their grandkids. That is, you know, because you're robbing the kids of their presents so that you can get a present as well. Because, you know, as much as you try and justify that the holiday is a present for the kids, it's also a present for you know, the person who wrote that. So very selfish. You should feel lucky that your mother-in-law is is wanting to buy presents for the grandkids anyway. To say, no, I don't want presents, I actually want money. You know, how much money are you asking for? You know, how does the amount of money compare to the price of the gifts that the mother-in-law would be buying for the kids? You know? That's like saying, no, I don't want you to buy presents for my kids because they're not worth enough money. And furthermore, I don't get anything out of it because I want to go on holiday. Incredibly selfish. Incredibly selfish. This person needs to be taught a lesson in manners, frankly. And I am the one who is teaching you, young woman or man, or old woman or man, or whatever. Whoever you are, I beg you to reconsider. Consider that kids get incredibly excited for their presents. It doesn't have to be big, you know. Also, you know, if you're expecting your kid to be grateful that you're saving up for a holiday, you are going to be hard pressed, because a kid is not one for the delayed gratification. They're not going to be going, oh, I haven't got any presents this year, but it's okay because I'm going on holiday next year. That is a very quick way to get your kid to resent you, unless they are very patient kids indeed. So, no, not reasonable at all. Next call. Editing room Jake here. Just wanted to say that might have gone a bit harsh on these guys. I don't know why I was so triggered, but you know, I do understand that financial situations vary, and maybe the family couldn't afford to buy their kids presents and go on holiday. But I do stand by the point that if their mother-in-law or anyone wants to buy their kids present, it is a bit selfish to say, no, get me money for my holiday instead. I just think that's a bit iffy and a bit meh. So yeah, probably would answer this one slightly differently, but my overall point stands, so yeah.
On holiday at the MO, and I can't even count the number of times I have seen topless women sunbathing at the beach, next to kids, on non-nudist beach. I really don't want to see titties out in the middle of the day. On top of that, I don't fancy my teenage boys, or even my DH having a look at them either.
DH's husband.
It's obvious they're coming from certain European countries. Do they have no sense of what's right or wrong? AIBU?
She didn't specify where she's on holiday, but I assume it's not Britain, because Mumsnet is, I believe, is an English website. Because, you know, most of the posts on there are related to British goings-ons. To go to another country and to get upset when they've got different cultural norms regarding nudity, which different countries do have different cultural norms regarding nudity, that is a very typically English thing to do. Take Germany, for example. Now, you know, Germany... Oh shit, can I make the red light? No, please! Okay, we just made it. Germany is a country where nudity is not sexualized. In Germany, you can be completely naked in a sauna or locker room with other people, and it's not weird. England, by comparison, is quite a prude country, and Germany isn't alone in this. France, you get topless people all the time on beaches. I grew up in France, right? You get topless people all the time. Spain, you know, France, Spain, Portugal. I've not been to Portugal, but I just wanted to add one more to my repertoire. But England and France and Spain, rather, I can vouch for. Nudity, having titties out, is a very normal thing, and it's not a sexual thing, believe it or not. I think for English people, it's quite difficult to wrap your head around the idea of nudity not being sexual. But believe it or not, it is not a sexual thing. So, you are being unreasonable to go to another country that is not your country and to get annoyed that they don't have the same cultural norms as you do. That is completely unreasonable. Completely unreasonable. You should be... you should feel happy for the teenage boy that they're getting to witness all of them titties. I'm joking. But you know, that I understand, because, you know, teenage boys are teenage boys, right? Again, a very British thing to expect everyone else to act like your country. You know, not even just an English thing, rather. English people go on holiday, and I've seen this happen time and time again. They expect everyone to speak English. They expect everyone to act English. And when they don't act English, and I'm drawing on the French for this, they take offence to it. Hold up. Let me lock in real quick. Freight market, we finally made it to our destination. 11k, that's not too bad. Alright, finally got some cargo. Let's go. Not reasonable at all. And yes, get off my radio.
I had an appointment.
On holiday at the...
My 6-year-old is constantly being asked if she's a boy or a girl. She usually just refuses to reply at all, or she will say once that she's a girl. Some children seem to ask repeatedly, though. She's beginning to get really annoyed about it. I'm not sure how to help her deal with it. 90% of her clothes are from the boys section in shops. She has long hair but refuses to tie it up unless she has to for sports activities. It's probably her mannerisms that make children think she is a boy though, more than anything else. I obviously don't want to change her, but I wish I could stop children being so rude. I know I can't affect the behavior of others though. Any suggestions of what she could say when asked that may stop the repeat questions would be great.
Huge respect to that parent for, understanding, one, that it's okay for a child not to, or anyone to fall firmly into one category or another. You do get boisterous girls and girly boys, and that's not just because of the recent gender politic thing. That's always been the case. I can think of many girly boys and boisterous girls when I was growing up. That's always been a thing, right? So it's not even a political thing. That's just a human thing. And second of all, for understanding that she, no matter how much it sucks for the kid, you can't change the behavior of other kids. Kids are going to be kids at the end of the day, right? My advice is to explain to your kids that it's okay to explain what I just said, that some girls, or in fact, just to say that girls don't have to be girly and boys don't have to be boisterous. You can be both. And for some kids that might be quite difficult to understand, but judging by the sound of this kid, it seems like it seems like they've got a disposition to be neither one or the other, and that's perfectly fine. So if a kid goes up to them and says, why do you dress like a boy, or why do you act like a boy? I would say, trying to think what my dad would tell me if this was me as a kid. I know that my dad would be like, he would say something like, someone says, "Why are you acting like a boy?" Just say back to them, "Why do you care? Why is it your problem?" That might not be a satisfactory thing. I'm not a parent, Oh, police car. I'm not a parent, so I'm not. I'm not qualified to answer any of these questions really, especially ones about kids. But I'd say as long as you just let your kid know that however they are is fine, and to pay no heed to people. But there is a difference as a kid being curious and being cruel. Some kids are just genuinely asking, I suppose. Others are like, why are you doing that? But you've just got to teach your kids to not be bothered by it, frankly, and to not rise is the main thing. I would say is that if your kid is getting all of these comments all the time, I'd tell my kids, don't give them any more material to work with. Just shrug it off. And if they really have a problem with it, then, as I say, tell them, why do you care? Next caller.
I have changed my name for this, but there is so much negativity and hate towards JSO, Insulate Britain, and on these boards, that I really want to risk putting my head above the parapet and saying woohoo, I am right behind you.
Woohoo.
These are wonderful people sacrificing their own liberty and careers to bring attention to their cause, and it really works. There have been huge benefits, so many companies are aware of them, and taking steps to avoid being in the firing line by upping their investments in environmental mitigations. And the huge amount of attention that insulation got, it is now high up on so many agendas. Why did it take protesters gluing themselves to the road to do it? It should have happened anyway, but it didn't. People had to make that sacrifice, put themselves in danger, lose jobs, careers, liberty, etc., to get results. People moan about having their days disrupted, etc., by JSO, without caring how much their days are going to be disrupted by the climate crisis running out of control. I have cancer. I couldn't get to a chemo appointment once because of JSO. I 100% support their actions. I think their cause is so much bigger than one person. They are acting to protect millions. No doubt people will come here and bitch and moan, and I don't care really. At least anyone from JSO who is on MN will see my thread title.
to say that they don't care, but then to change their name so they don't receive hate, that's contradiction. They clearly do care. I don't know if it's just the voice that I picked for that one. I didn't really listen to all of them, which is why the last one was so wacky. I don't know if it's just the voice, but the tone that I got from that was a very naive one. I'm not gonna lie. On one hand, I do understand, and a lot of people compare Just Stop Oil, JSO, to the suffragettes, in that when the suffragettes were doing their thing, they were very much hated by the general population. There's that really famous incident where one of them, where they interrupted a horse race, and I don't know if it was one or more than one, got trampled by horses and died. I bet the exact same thing happened as right now, where people are going in the middle of roads and stopping traffic, and people are just like, oh, these fucking Just Stop Oil, these suffragettes ruining my horse race, or ruining my commute, or making my life difficult. Where I think this person does have a point. It is the movement is bigger than any single one person. Whoa, the movement is bigger than any one single person. But I will say, I don't think that JSO has been nearly as effective as this person claims it to be or believes it to be. I haven't done my research on this, to be 100% honest. I haven't heard of any policies that have been outright changed as a result of Just Stop Oil's actions. And it's true that everyone's talking about them. It's also true that everybody hates them. There are very few people who I know who have said positive things about JSO, except the people that that support them. Obviously, that goes without saying. But online especially, there's a lot of vitriol and a lot of anger at JSO and their methods. And to an extent, I do agree with the anger. It's one thing to stop a commute, to jump on top of a train or in front of a highway, and all of that. But the recent occasion where they vandalized Stonehenge, I don't know if you guys saw this. They did use corn oil or whatever, anyway, biodegradable, so it washed off. But I remember it was on Reddit that I saw the news story. Everyone in the comments was like, man, you do not fuck with Stonehenge. And yes, everyone was talking about them, and yes, it got everyone's attention, but for the completely wrong reasons. I think that there are much better targets that they can go after, where they can get people talking, and they can also, garner the sympathy of the people as well. Which they did neither of those things with. Well, actually, they did get people's attention, but they definitely did not win their support by vandalising Stonehenge and all the various paintings that they vandalised as well. Destroying art is just a very bizarre thing. These old paintings which were painted, many of them at a time before people even knew what climate change was. If what the person says here is true, and they've got cancer and they had an appointment and they missed it because of Just Stop Oil, and yet they completely understand their motives, that is not even a little bit frustrated that they missed their cancer appointment on behalf of JSO's. That is very righteous and in one sense admirable, but in another sense very very naive. I think a lot of the people that do the protesting for Just Stop Oil are students and retired people, so I don't exactly know if it's true when this person says that they're giving up their careers, because many of them have already finished their careers and many of them haven't even begun them, so I don't know if they're giving up much. I think you've got to be careful to idolize these people. They're human beings. I imagine in 100 years, God willing, something is done about turns Irish for a minute. Something is done about climate change. In 100 years, people will be like, oh, the heroes, they were the first people to really cry against climate change. And I will say that it will take something radical to stop climate change and to change the attitudes. But something radical and something stupid are two very different things. So that is my two penneth on the matter. I sympathise with the fact that people that do JSO stuff know that they're going to get hate for it, and they do it anyway because they really believe that the cause is bigger than any one person, and they believe that it's what needs to be done for the planet. I respect that more than I can say. I do not respect their methods. I think there are better ways of doing the things they do. Exactly how, I don't know. I don't know if this was JSO, but someone spray painted one of Taylor Swift's jets. I think they snuck into an airport and they spray painted one of the jets, because you know there's that big meme about Taylor Swift taking a private jet to go literally anywhere, including the bathroom, which is the internet would have you believe. So you know that kind of stuff. I remember everyone in the comments saying that, and I know that Reddit comments are not a accurate representation of the public attitude towards anything. But I just remember the stark contrast between that and Stonehenge. Everyone in the Taylor Swift one was like, "This is the kind of shit that I can get on board," and you know. Yeah, I agree with that. The philosophy for JSO, it seems to be that any attention is good attention. I guess only time will tell whether that's true, but for the time being it is frustrating that they're targeting, you know, cultural and artistic landmarks. But it's complicated. Anyway, on to the next one.
On the weekend, my partner and I travelled to a friend's house for dinner. The journey was over an hour by train. The main course was sausages with nice sides, potato salad, tomato salad, another salad. That was nice. But dessert was just strawberries with some pouring cream. We had a nice time, but AIBU to feel that the dessert was very low effort and unexciting, and should have been more exciting than strawberries given the journey. When my friend came to mine, I did a 3-course meal, feeling I should make a big effort because of her long journey.
I don't even think I need to dignify that with a response. You travel to a friend's house, an hour by train, which isn't very long by the way. You get fed, as he said, a nice meal, salad, sausages, you know, all of that. And on top of that you get pudding, strawberries and cream. What was this man expecting? Was he expecting a bloody, I don't know, cheesecake with raspberry sorbet and a side of testicles on the side? You know, if that is an actual genuine complaint, that person seriously needs to be taught some manners, as some of the other people whose comments I have copied. Most unacceptable. And you know, one of the things that he said is that, you know, when they came over to mine, I made them a nice pudding and all of that. First of all, raspberries and cream is a lovely pudding. That's a great pudding. I'd have that shit. You know, maybe they were full and they didn't have room for a pudding. And you know, not everyone is a pudding person. I'm very much a pudding person. I've got a massive sweet tooth. Not everyone is a pudding person. You know, I think you're lucky to have gotten any pudding at all, to have gotten any food at all, frankly. They've cooked for you. They've hosted for you. You know, and one of my biggest pet peeves is people who give things and expect a reward. How do I use a window wiper? Fuck me. Oh fuck. Oh shit. There was a button for window wipers, but I can't remember what it is. What have I done? Oh. It's very much comparable to the loan that I've got for my truck here. You know, the bank didn't give me money, they loaned it to me because they expect it in return. If someone gives you something, if you give someone something and you expect something in return later down the line, that is not gifting at all. That is, as I say, simply a loan. And that's on jar, yo. Post-edit Jake here once again. Unfortunately, my camera stopped recording for inexplicable reasons, so I have replaced the camera with still images, a selection of still images. Apologies for the inconvenience, and yes, go fuck yourself. I'm still pissed off about the nudity, the titties on the beach, man. Look, in my opinion, the more titties on a beach, the better. Man, it all goes back to Travis Berwick, though. You know, who would have fucking thought? I am definitely above the speed limit yet. Oh, fuck. That's not at all what I wanted to do. Hold up. I'm cooking. Okay. Micro adjustments. Come on. Boom! Shakalaka! Yeah, bitches! Oh, fuck yes, motherfucker. Oh, yes. 497 miles, 10 hours and 6 minutes, 336 litres, 0.1 litres, and that is $11,892 in the bank, brother. Fuck yes, man. What a ride that was. That was a beautiful journey. I really hope my camera hasn't run out. I'd be so pissed off if it did. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I have. Perhaps I'll do it again. Thank you for watching. If you stuck until the end, thank you very much. I'm honoured. And once again, this video goes out in loving memory of Travis Berwick, even though I'm fairly sure he's still with us. I really hope he is. Travis, this one's for you, buddy.